Yeah, because then you've got to remember that he can have revenge on you.
But then at IFC, we're both board members. But technically,
that work,
I'm the
then?
chairman.
Yeah, technically you're the chairman, but I'm finance director, so I'm way more important.
You get to say
second
no
that.
to me.
Yes.
You're the
Don't shut
one
up, Woody.
person
What
that
would you
gets to say no to me.
Finance is much more important.
Okay, so here's our first convention horror story. Did you know that 2 conventions went to Vegas and bet their cons on black?
What?
Guess which 2 cons they were?
Fursquared
It was
and...
a good weekend.
It was a very good weekend. There was a lot of free booze.
There was a lot of booze. Yay Vegas.
If you've never been to Vegas before, there's this wonderful thing called comping. And if you make one giant bet, they'll comp you basically the whole weekend. So he bet MFF and I bet Fursquared, and we drink for free forever.
So Dana, in my defense, here's how I saw it.
I call bullshit already.
Yeah, no. There was a logic in my head, I swear.
I don't believe you.
No. So worst case was that we would win Fursquared, and best case was we would lose MFF, and he would have to take MFF from us.
I'm surprisingly okay with this.
Yeah, no. So like really, it worked out, but yeah.
But what if 00 rule?
That's not even the same. No.
You're-
You're 00, you get all the cons.
Fudge that.
All right, guys, let me do 2 quick introductions. This is the con chairman of Indie FurCon, Pandez, a wonderful, wonderful person. Yay. The not yet tested but brand new con chairman. Oh yeah.
Shiny.
This is Woody, con chairman of MFF, starting this year.
Woo, MFF.
Technically, we're both con-chairs starting this year.
Yeah, that's right.
That's weird.
We should start a support group. Actually, I guess we have one with FCLR, don't we?
Yes, that is our
That's support
For those of you who don't know what FCLR is, they are the governing body of furry, just so you know.
No, it's around. No.
No, so we go into a boardroom and cry at each other.
They're the UN of furry.
We're the
Yes.
UN.
They have no actual power, but they still want to tell everyone what to do.
I think that's exactly what it is.
That is the perfect description.
We all get to hear each other talk, we all get to cry at each other, and then we have no ability to change anything. So, yeah, no, that's it. Dead on.
And that is actually where this panel stems from, because they have a convention horror stories, but since it's all board members and con chairs, like you guys get to hear the PG-13 things. We got to hear the why is that hotel on fire things. Still on fire.
Yeah. No, those are the stories of this is why we were banned from this hotel.
Yeah.
You technies don't know that. Not that MFF ever was.
No, never. So MFF did have, because I was there for this one, a 2-year stint at a hotel, if I remember correctly.
We did,
Yes.
yes. That was an experience.
And the last day at this hotel, if I remember correctly, the furries staged a non-violent protest in the form of coffee cups. Is that correct?
So, how do I spin this? So the problem was that we were leaving this hotel, and the hotel knew that we were leaving this hotel, and they did not like the fact that we were leaving. And so they cracked down hard on people walking through the lobby with, drinks in hand. So they started demanding that people walking through their lobby present their cups to security so that security could smell them to make sure that they weren't alcohol.
Hotel security.
Hotel security, sorry.
Important.
Sorry. Convention security was, no, this was hotel
Convention security was on their side.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Go
So-
that way, you're
Clearly
safer.
right.
So a number of attendees caught on to this, and they decided to stage their own little protest. And of course, if you know you're going to be walking through the lobby and security, hotel security, is going to be sniffing your drinks, well, maybe you don't fill that cup with beer, but you fill it up with that recycled beer that you're now done with. So they have something more interesting to say. Wow.
Now I want you to think about this. How much water have you guys drank by this time in the con? Have you guys been drinking? No, you have This was the Saturday.
Not
of
much
the
water.
con.
For the weekend, yes.
You've never seen a face until you see a gentleman who thinks that he's the cock of the walk, in charge of the world, sniff a drink, and then almost vomit.
We had asparagus in the con suite that year, right?
We did for Sunday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our fourth panelist, the chairman of Fur Reality, TAC. Don't boo my panelists.
We're all great staff. Okay, that's a different story.
Okay, you can't boo him, you can't ban them from my con.
Yes, I can.
Actually, he's the only one wearing a hat right now, so officially I think you're in charge. Sold!
No!
Now you have two conventions. Welcome to my world.
That is the worst case scenario.
Now, Pandas, maybe you can tell me if this chant rings any bells. Drink,
you-
mother bleeper, drink, mother bleeper, drink, mother bleeper, drink.
I was hoping you would censor that just in case.
I did.
So at Indie Fur, now I didn't actually witness any of this until after the fact, but I am told that this is what happened because I was blindingly drunk from MST3K, thanks Alkali, and Battlefield Earth. But Indie FurCon was sharing the hotel with a group of fraternity brothers. And it started off that we were not getting along so well, and then some incidents happened, and we basically amended everything. Everything got, settled.
You can tell them Tanya's reaction.
Should I tell them Tanya's reaction?
I think that's appropriate because it was Tanya and she's
Okay, so our hotel liaison, this adorable, lovely African-American lady, went out of her way all weekend long. But there was an incident where one of the fraternity brothers made an inappropriate remark to one of the fursuiters trying to get onto the elevator. And, they were like a Dalmatian, so I don't understand the reference to that. But basically, they tried to get on the elevator when all the fraternity brothers were in there, and they would not let him on, and they went, "You ain't Rosa Parks, you're not getting on this bus."
What?
Oh.
We referred that to our hotel liaison, whose response was, "Oh, hell no!" Oh, she took off like a bat. And we were like, and at that point on, everything was fine. Later that night, the fursuiters and the bros, we're gonna call them that, I guess, were down in the lobby where they had this big table. And the bros were, having some drinks, and the furries were walking around some drinks, and they were like, sat down and decided to start trying to outdrink each other. At one point, the bros are wearing fursuit heads.
No, before that, they had to get the fursuit heads, and as any college jock would do, started chanting, "Take it off, take it off." Now we were upstairs and we heard this chant, we ran.
So,
I think this is the only time I outran you, because I was terrible.
You were closer to the door.
We made eye contact.
so the bros were saying, "Take it off, take it off." So took off the fursuit head to drink. Then the fursuiters would go, "Put it on, put it on." And then eventually the entire lobby is filled. All the bros on one side, all the furries on the other, trying to outdrink each other. And every time they would toast, "Here's to our brother Spots Dalmatian. Here's to our brother Panda." No, I wasn't there, but they were drinking me anyway. That was weird. And then they would do this chant, and I don't remember the entire chant. At least I'm going to claim that because of all the profanity in it.
That's exactly.
This is a G-rated panel.
No, it is not.
It's
I'm here, it's not G-rated.
But it basically ended with the entire group. By the end of the night, you had probably a couple hundred people in the lobby around this one table chanting, drink mother fudger, drink mother fudger, drink mother fudger, drink.
I like
And
that there.
top of their lungs. And of course, you have Kage walking by one point, takes an entire bottle of wine and goes, amateurs! And walks away. And all of them were just like, who is that? And the person's like, that's Kage, don't worry about it. So,
One of the really fun parts of that one was the next morning, because the next morning, the professional alcoholics, the furries, we were running around in fursuits with fur heads on and being all bouncy, and there was a bunch of dead college people just screaming.
So what you're saying is the furries won.
oh, the furries won.
The furries won.
We outdrank the fraternity brothers.
And if you would like to see this, it is on YouTube.
I think the best part was Remy looked over at the hotel staff to go like, should we break this up? And they were just like, meh. They were just like, nah, they're getting along. Just let them drink. That's fine.
They're finally getting along.
But to come out of a panel at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you're walking down the hallway to go to your room, and you just hear that chant coming from the lobby of hundreds of people, and you're just like, oh snap.
Now, Tack, you run for reality. Did you lose a guest of honor?
Technically, no.
Do you have a story for us?
That's not the story I wanted to tell, but okay.
You're gonna tell it anyway. I'm not seeing you tell that shit.
I am. So for reality, last year, one of our special guests was Uncle Kage, and we had made arrangements to have him picked up at the airport, and he'd be driven. It's not that long of a drive, like 20 minutes from the airport to our hotel. And somewhere along the lines, an email had been missed giving him the contact information of the pickup service. So he knew he was supposed to get picked up, but we didn't get him the info. I'll take the blame on this one. We didn't get him the info. We didn't give him the info for the contact service. So he spent about 20 minutes or so at the airport waiting to see if someone was going to pick him up before he just did the smart thing, picked up a cab and came to our hotel. But in the meantime, we didn't know he had done that. So from our standpoint, Kage had gotten to the airport, no one was there to get him, and he had disappeared into a car. So we're sort of like, we may have just killed the fandom. I don't think people will forgive us for this one. And you know, Kage was very, very gracious about it and everything. You know, harassing me endlessly for the entire weekend. But I remember at one point I walked into Con Horror Stories at my own show, and he immediately changed. And then Tack, and I'm like, oh. Every time I walk in from now on, Kage is just going to start that story. And I'm like, it's the first time he's been to one of my cons, and this is going to be his first memory. So,
Wait.
magical.
One of your cons?
Yeah, I work on multiple cons. So.
Well, what it comes down to is this. It was an experience, and he's already told me it's his favorite convention horror story because this one he didn't have to deal with. He just had to be a part of. So these guys actually had me text him to find out where he was at, and Kage does not answer text, so I sent him a text and an email, and all of a sudden my phone buzzes. Like, Alkali! So where is everybody? So for a while he thought your con was my con and was pissed at me. He was very confused.
I would have been okay with him thinking that.
I know you would have been. What's up? Oh, sorry. Now, Woody, MFF has been going on for some time now.
Yeah, a couple of years.
I think you've got a few more for us. Possibly something about a flightless bird. I know it wasn't during your con, but an uncooked flightless bird.
Okay, so I like this story because it doesn't involve my con.
Exactly.
Yeah, it involves our hotel, but it doesn't involve our convention. So the Hyatt Regency O'Hare, I don't know how many people have been there. Well, that's awkward. So the Hyatt Regency O'Hare has this beautiful, amazing atrium lobby. We love it, they love it, everyone's happy with it. There's another convention which will go unnamed where Our attendees are in a certain demographic, and their attendees are a demographic several years and maturity levels younger, which is surprising. Yes, I know, you're giving me that look. But so one of them, and I don't quite understand how this happened, but one of them decided that it would be a great idea to, just see, if a turkey could fly. But of course they couldn't find a real turkey, so they, I think, had their parents' chauffeur bring them a frozen turkey. And so somehow they end up with a frozen turkey in our atrium, and they throw it off of one of the atrium levels from the 7th or 8th floor, and it crashes down to the earth. And so we had these, it was like a bullseye type thing going on. There were these giant, thick glass floor panels at the bottom. Thankfully, those things can take a semi, so it became a frozen turkey, as well as you can expect. But when we showed up for our convention, we're like, why is the floor shattered? Oh, well, funny story. Someone threw a frozen turkey off of it. So
I had a chance to talk to one of your bartenders because you're alcoholic.
Of course.
And I had asked him about that story. He goes, that's not the story that matters.
Oh, really? What is
The story that matters was the bartender on duty, because two of them were working, was standing there when it happened, and he was washing a glass. And according to them, that turkey hit the ground, and this bastard did not stop washing the glass, looked over at it, and went right back to it. No reaction whatsoever.
So I love our hotel so much. They look at us as like, oh, that's cute. You think you're weird. They have conventions that have splash zones, so our convention is nothing.
It's true.
Pandez.
Yes.
So, did you ever get a water feature in operations? Do you remember it?
Okay, I don't know the full details of the story, but I'm trying to remember it as best as I
Just
can.
make them up. It's cool.
So, at the previous IFC
That's how we
hotel-
run all the cons, right? We just make shit up.
Make it up as we go.
At the previous IFC hotel, the Sheraton, we have convention operations right off the main floor, and then there's guest rooms above it. And apparently, someone had come back to the room, decided they wanted to have a bath, and then promptly went to sleep while the bath water was still running. No. And not only did it flood their room, but the room below, and the room below, and the room below, such that we came in Sunday morning, I believe it was, to open con ops, and there's a little drip, 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 and we're like, I think there might be a problem with the room above us, and the hotel's like, no, there's a problem with the room above that. And we were like, oh.
You have to remember, hotels are built for this. Their hotels are not made of, that should never get that many floors.
Nope.
The room right below the bathroom that flooded had a literal waterfall going in. It looked like a full-fledged, roaring rapids waterfall coming through the ceiling into their bathroom, draining through the floor.
In parts of the con, you could hear it in the
Oh, yeah.
walls.
So that.
Trying to find out what that noise was.
Yes. So that actually reminds me of which one was it that Cody had the sprinkler incident at?
Oh, shit.
Megaplex.
Megaplex? Was that Megaplex? Yeah. Okay, so an acquaintance of ours, I can't call him a friend in this story. You know how the hotel rooms often have a sprinkler on the wall, and in many hotel rooms they'll have a little logo under it, like a little hanger with an X through the hanger. They did not have that sign, and this gentleman was from Canada, where things apparently aren't civilized.
Careful.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, he he didn't.
Give us some
Let's
sound.
get 'em.
You're in the middle of a Canada sandwich right now.
This is the most awkward sandwich ever, but at least it's apologetic about it.
I'm sorry. Sorry. So sorry.
So sorry.
Sorry.
So our friend did not see, a little sign saying don't hang shit on the, did I say that? From the sprinkler. So, he needed to dry his fursuit out. Which he tried to do and apparently accomplished the exact opposite. Because when that sprinkler head went off, the mattresses in that room flew across the room from the water pressure. Which not only flooded his room and the entire hallway, but the entire hotel kitchen in the room below them.
These eggs are a little runny.
Yes. My understanding it was about $85,000 in damage, which was covered by the hotel's insurance, not his own stupidity. So the moral of this story is do not hang things from sprinkler heads, although I was at a convention in Texas last weekend, and I walked into a room party. I was like, oh, this is cool, this is fun, and they've got these Christmas lights hanging. They're going from like an outlet wrapped around a light fixture, draped over a picture frame, and then wrapped twice around the sprinkler head, and then go elsewhere. But as soon as I saw where they went, I stepped back into the doorway. I was like, okay, cool, well, you guys have fun tonight. I'm gonna go back to some other room parties.
Now, Tack, did something happen regarding Morgan Freeman? It's okay.
We're all watching.
Guys, we do apologize. We had to do a last-minute thing for the furry photo shoot, so they're going to be doing work in the back of the
Can you
room.
repeat the last sentence?
Absolutely. Did something happen with Morgan Freeman?
There's a story about Morgan Freeman.
What do you got?
I may have accidentally started a mem at IFC, and I need Pandez to cover his ears for this.
What? What?
It's a story that might get me banned from IFC.
You've got enough reasons to ban
Can
you
you
from
turn
it.
this
I
into
know, right?
a
So I may have accidentally
You did it.
I may have accidentally started a mem at IFC. My friend Sal and I, we were joking around right before the convention at one point, and we were playing a classic video game called Altered Beast. I don't know if any of you know it. Classic video game, right? If you're at all familiar, you play these men in bikini or in just their tights, and you run around beating things up, and you collect balls and get buff, and you turn into various animals in each level. And we're sitting here, and we're like, you know what? This is from like 30 years ago, and somehow it managed to be the most furry homoerotic game ever. Because, like I said, you basically collect balls, you rip out of your shirt, and you turn into a tiger, a dragon, a wolf, and a bear. And I'm like, if you tried to pick some of the most common favored species in the fandom, those are some of them for that. So we're telling our friend about this. We're telling about the game and all the hilarious things that happen to it. And there's an attack that the bear does, and it basically consists of getting down on all fours, and the other attack it can do is this weird thrusting. So if you're ever playing two-player, that happens. So at any point you're playing two-player, at some point you're inevitably having the bear sex. So that's not even the funny part, guys. I'm telling this story to a friend of ours on the way to the convention, and she just cracks up laughing about it. And she goes, "Well, what about like actual gay sex games? Aren't those more homosexual?" I said, "I don't know. I think it's the subtlety of the bear sex that makes it so hilarious." She goes, "What's subtle bear sex?" And I go, "Well, like in America, every 13 seconds, someone is surprised by a bear. Every 13 seconds, a bear comes up and just has its way with someone." And then somehow we started talking about this as the thing where you tell people about things like PSAs. It became a PSA, like an after-school special thing. It's like, we started doing, and then all of a sudden we inevitably became Morgan Freeman as we're doing this. It's like, "I'm Morgan Freeman. Do you know that every 13 seconds, somewhere in America, someone's being raped by a bear?" I'm being raped by a bear right now. And we kept doing this. And at one point, somehow the bear character got a voice. And the bear was like, hey, I know Morgan Freeman. What you guys doing in 12 seconds? And she cracked up laughing so hard she couldn't breathe. And instead of trying to say something, the only sound that came out of her voice was, and we just freaking lost it at that. So that became the bear mating call. So we get to IFC, and I'm doing one of the panels on writing, and I'm trying to like break the ice with everyone, and I tell the story, and get everyone kind of loosened up and into it. And everyone started going on about the Morgan Freeman bear rape. And no joke, I was watching the convention, and people started getting commissions of the bear, of the Morgan Freeman stuff. And around the convention, this was last year, I don't know if you remember this, but every once in a while in the background, you would just hear someone go, and I'm like, shit, I scared a mem. They better not figure out that was me. So that's how I wrote IFC.
I was at the improv panel.
It's been 13 seconds.
Yeah, it's been 13 seconds. Oh, wait, one last addendum. I told this story to someone, and they actually looked up what a bear mating call sounds like, and the actual sound is purr. It's the exact sound, but like really slow. We couldn't play that.
You brought this on yourself.
I'm sorry, Pandas.
Sorry.
You won't be sorry.
They're going to be in an infinite loop. Do not let the Canadians start apologizing to each other.
This will go on infinitely.
Pandas,
Yes, Alkaline.
I wonder, did we have to leave a panel at one point for a medical emergency?
We don't talk about that stuff.
We don't need to talk about the incident, but I think we can talk about what happened from the congoers' point of view.
We don't talk about that stuff.
I'll give this one because this poor guy. We run a panel called Mystery Science Theater, and we
Everything happens during Mystery Science Theater.
It is the curse of conventions. We're done running that.
So is it
panel.
going at 12:30 on Sunday morning? Perfect. Was it? Oh my God.
Now we're calling it a medical emergency.
So,
Medical science emergency.
medical science. So, what happened isn't important. What the convention goers saw is what's important. Because what they saw was myself, Pandez, and a few others watching a movie, having a slight drinking competition. Slight, no more than 2 bottles of tequila.
We were watching a movie called The Faculty.
The Faculty.
And someone made a drinking rule that says anytime water appears on screen, drink.
Right.
These are aliens that drink glasses of water every 5 seconds in the movie.
Well, they paid like $50 to make that a rule, so.
They should have paid more.
Yeah. So
That was
I-
worse than the screen wipe rule,
Oh, that
I
was
swear.
worse than, yeah. So I had gotten to the point where one of two things were going to happen. I either needed to evacuate liquid from my lower half or my upper half. So I chose to go to the bathroom and evacuate from the lower half. And that's when the director of operations stopped me, grabbed me by the shoulder, and took me upstairs to where there was a medical emergency. Now Pandez, waiting for me to come back, is kind of looking around the room, and other people are looking around the room. And apparently two said, no, Alkali died.
And then our director of finance comes in, grabs me and goes, we need to handle this medical emergency. And I go running from the room. This was about 20 minutes after Alkali had left the room.
So now the movie finishes. Everyone gets out there, had a good time. Pandez has disappeared, I've disappeared first. And as they're walking past the escalators that went down into the lobby, there's about 4 ambulances, 5 police cars, 2 fire trucks, And they went,
And a
yep,
partridge in a pear
he's
tree.
gonna die. Now, I didn't know about any of this because there was an emergency and we were dealing with it for most of the night. And the next morning, every single person at the con asked me if I was okay. And I was told more stories about what happened to me that night. And they were good. I'm a fucking superhero, apparently.
You tried to fly off the
Yeah,
second
I got
floor.
that was one of them. Yeah, then I went to the roof of the building and was convinced I could fly and succeeded by it was amazing.
You thought you were a frozen turkey.
But yeah, it was a yeah, so that was.
You tried to run down the up escalator and ended up tripping and continuously.
Well, I think one of them was like, you went into the women's washroom, realized you were in the wrong one, and got through the wall into the men's washroom. Like, that was a legitimate thing. Yeah, it was amazing that you got through that wall. Kool-Aid.
If there's one thing we can say about this fandom, it has imagination.
Yes, it does.
Proof. Sometimes too much.
Sorry.
Yeah, you always know it's a bad sign when like people on stage start going, gotta go.
I do love, I help out at a lot of conventions, but especially the ones that me and Pendez are at. I mean, we were board of directors at 3 cons.
I'm born on 2, you're born on 2.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, so
I'm not
2 to 3.
staff here.
I know.
I just show up and you tell me what to do.
So basically, we've all got radios. So like a panel like this, sometimes we'll all have them in. And every once in a while, it's like watching for the double rainbow. You'll see everyone doing a panel. All 4 people.
Also called the group stroke.
The groups.
Yes.
Like, okay.
No, it's okay. They found the butter. It's okay.
Would you like to explain the butter situation?
Does anyone have one of the buttons? You do. You do have a butter situation button. God damn you.
I'm afraid of what this butter was used for.
Midwest Fur Fest had a rather serious butter situation one year. So one of our attendees, who we love and adore, was concerned. So he took the time to write out a big letter explaining his concerns. And he passed this on to the head of catering, I think it was the hotel, the head chef, who passed on to head of catering, who passed on to our salesperson. And so our salesperson then brings it up to the head of our hotel department at the time. So at this point, like, half the hotel knows what's going on, and then it gets to us. And this letter is seriously concerning. Because it turns out that this attendee went to breakfast, and there was a buffet, and he went to get pancakes. And when he went to get pancakes, he put the pancakes onto his plate, and he looked around, and so, as he detailed in his letter, the process, and he did list the process steps of pancakes, is that you take pancakes, you put them on your plate, and then you take butter, and then you put the butter onto your pancakes, and then you put syrup on top of the butter, which is on top of the pancakes, which is on your plate. The problem is this. He could not find butter. There was pancake, there was syrup, and he had to walk 10 steps around the corner to get to the butter. It was a serious issue. He was genuinely concerned. It was a butter situation. So of course, as we get this information, our head of hotel is like, oh, no, this is seriously concerning. Completely straight face. We need to figure this out. So our head of sales, who completely understands how serious he genuinely is like, we should go talk to the head chef and head of catering. Let's go talk to them right now. So they walk over there. And our head of hotel holds up this letter. He's like, so we saw this letter and it was really concerning, and we want to find out like what we can do to address this issue. And these 2 hotel people are staring at us like, oh, yes, no, we completely understand. this is definitely, yes, no, we see the butter situation, like the steps. Obviously, this was a failing on our part, and we are so sorry. And then, at which point, our head of hotel loses his shit. And they start laughing, and everyone's laughing. They're like, thank God, we thought you were serious, and we had no idea what to do. We were just, I mean, it was a serious butter situation. Thankfully, we worked through it together as a team, as a group.
They brought in a cow, freshly churned butter in the sponsors lounge.
Yes.
That was actually a for charity thing. You got to churn the butter for charity.
So now for MFF and
Public?
any of our group like meal things, you will find butter everywhere. There is like butter between every single place. Like, oh, butter, here's some butter.
We're having cereal this morning. Make sure there's butter.
I can't believe you had the buttons.
Absolutely. Butter situation. There was a butter situation. Now, Tack, you've been a con chairman for 1 year. You ran one con, right?
2.
For the furries.
No, 2. This was our second year for front. Okay, so most.
Was I that drunk your first year? I was that drunk your first year.
Yes, you were.
That's right, the small hotel.
I don't know if anyone knows the origin story of For Reality.
Wasn't it originally going to be on the same weekend as this?
No.
Or was
We
that?
wouldn't do that to each
told
other.
them not
Screw you,
to.
New England.
No, what happened was some friend of ours in the steampunk community knew that we had interest in running a furry convention eventually. And they said, why don't you guys come to our event, run like a little fur meet type event inside our larger event, get your feet wet, get a feel for it, and then next year after, whatever, you guys can jump in full-fledged and start your own show. So sure, no problem. We thought maybe we get 30 people kind of registering and stuff. And this was only like 6 weeks before the actual show, so we figured, okay, no big deal, it's just a fur meet. We wound up at that convention 175 people. Our pre-reg quickly skyrocketed to like 60 or 70 people. So we realized, oh crap, we need to actually like get more space because they only gave us like one panel room for like an hour, and meanwhile we've got like 75 people showing up and they want to actually do stuff. So we're like, okay, we ran over, we picked up our own hotel. It was really small. Like the entire convention space would be less than this room. Between the fursuit lounge, the 2 panel rooms, the dealer's den, etc. And it sort of all came together extremely fast. And as soon as we spun off and became our own little separate convention, we had to get t-shirts and merchandise and con books and all that kind of stuff. And we threw that all together in 6 weeks. And people kept asking us, is this a scam? No, seriously, there's a convention. I've never heard of this. Well, we just came up with it. You're coming up with a convention in a month? Yeah, we're kind of stupid. So basically everyone kept asking us, is this a scam? And it doesn't help that like 2 days later, I literally moved from Kentucky to Ohio. And so I was without internet for like 3 or 4 days. So people were emailing and asking all these questions. So I get in, is this a scam? And I'm like, no, just send me your credit card number and we'll be fine. And just wire me some good faith money and everything we could. So we get together, and I honestly believe half the people showed up to the convention just to see if we would be sitting there trolling them, being like, it's not really a con, is it? So, we got there and it was a great first show, but we put that all together in 6 weeks. And so that's why we got dubbed Accidental Con. And so like I actually told Kage this once, before I spent much time talking to him. And I said, we put together a show in 6 weeks. He's like, oh, that's very nice. The next time I see him, he comes up and he goes, I looked into it, you were telling the truth. I know. It was really stupid. So, I actually have a slightly side story I'll go ahead and say about that first year while we're in for Alcoholic Come Back. As I said, everything was sort of slapdash thrown together. And at one point, one of my staff members brought in a speaker system into this one room, which we never said, we didn't authorize it, we didn't tell her to do that, it wasn't expected, it was a very small room. And the hotel came in and complained. They said, look guys, please turn down the volume on this, you know, we can't really have people using the PA system. So okay, no problem. Half an hour later, they come back to us and they go, guys, we asked you to take care of this, you know, why is this not taken care of? And we walk in, and it's just Alkalite talking. He didn't even have a microphone. He was just talking. And the hotel was like, seriously guys, you've got your PA up to like 11, please come down. So that's how Alkalite got a noise complaint.
Has anyone found his volume control knob, by the way?
It's more of an on-off switch.
I think that Xander has
And
the
only
most,
Xander has
most
it.
access to it.
Probably, yes.
Alkalite got pulled for something, so I'm going to tell another IFC-related story.
Sweet. The less we talk about MyCon, the better.
So 2 years ago, we get to IFC, and everything seems fine, everything's running smooth. And every once in a while, hotels will slip something into your contract that you don't notice. That you're sure is in there and everything's great, and every once in a while they'll be like, this one little tiny line gets removed.
Oh, that line.
That line.
I remember that line.
See, everything was great our first year, and then the second year, the corporate people at Sheraton saw the YouTube video we were talking about earlier. And so they decided they didn't want fursuits in the lobby until after 6 p.m. And they informed us of this, not at any point during the entire year of negotiating, but Friday morning of the convention. So we went at opening ceremonies and went, okay, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. They're not saying you can't be in fursuit. You can be up here, anywhere in the convention space. You can walk through the lobby if you're going outside. They just don't want you like congregating, hanging out, and causing these large groups in the lobby, because that was the thing. Like, it was blocking the escalator, was blocking the registration desk. So they're like, you know, you get one fursuiter and all of a sudden there's like 30 people around that one fursuiter, because that's what furries do.
Fursuits are magnetic.
They're magnetic. So they're like, well, that's why we don't want that in there. I'm like, okay, fine. During my peak business hours, we just played it, there's this one little thing.
And the internet exploded.
The internet exploded. I believe we were the official first gate. We were Lobby Gate.
Yep, LobbyCon.
LobbyCon. There's actually a video Zadfor made. It was hilarious. Do you know that'd be more like Hitler is shouting from that movie?
Yes.
People will dub over it. He did one of that for IFC. It's pretty cool. He made Roxas Hitler. Roxas didn't like that. But Hitler was a good guy in this one, so I don't understand. It's kind of been weird. But so because we had this going on, we're like, okay, everything's fine. Then Twitter exploded. Next thing we know, there is a protest of fursuiters ready to march through the lobby at 5 minutes to 6 in protest. There's actually photos of fursuits lined up on the stairs from the second level down to the lobby, waiting. Is it 5:55? Is it 5:55? Oh, we're gonna do this. And we were just like, yeah, ain't nothing we can do about this. There's like 100 of them and like 8 of us, so just have at. That had to play out. Yeah, that was an interesting experience. So if you're ever putting together a furry convention, make sure you gotta read every single line of your contract. Because you'll have it together, and then it'll come back, and they take out like 5 words, and they got you. So so the next year we were like, we made sure that line was still in there. It's like, put it back. So, but that was fun having the protest at 5:55, and then the resounding videos and tweets.
YouTube videos are always fascinating. Like every year, we make it a big point to go through all of the internet to find every video on YouTube, and it gets to a point where it's very difficult to watch some of these things because you're reminded about how different people interpret, events differently. And so I watched a number of videos this year where people lost it. The world was coming to an end. They were forced out into the cold in search of food and shelter, and everything was just, it was the worst of the worst. I watch these videos and I feel bad because I understand from their perspective, like, it really is that bad. But it's funny. Because it's not that bad. Like, oh my goodness. Some of the YouTube videos are always fascinating, especially like, then the memes that pop up sometimes.
Oh my god.
Oh my
it's
goodness.
absolutely ridiculous. Just from a con, I mean, you obviously have a completely different point of view being on staff at that con, but from a con-goer's point of view, I saw us come together as a fandom that night.
Oh, without question, yes.
Between Twitter and texting, and everyone was getting in contact with each other. I'm here. Who's there? Has anyone found so-and-so? Oh, yeah, they're over at this hotel. And, we were all keeping an eye on each other, making sure everything was good to go that night.
It was amazing to me, like, how many people came up to us and like, this was the best con ever. It's like, really? Well, that's awesome. I approve of this.
You want to know something truly broken?
Yeah.
Security felt like it was the best con ever.
Right. No, I had so many staff members come up afterwards, like, you know what? I was feeling burnt out and tired, and now I feel reinvigorated. I feel like this sense of family, this people coming together, like, it was amazing. It was astounding, really. Like, you obviously don't want things like that to ever happen, but the fact that everyone as a fandom came together and just found this sense of love and purpose and whatnot was amazing.
And then you do have to laugh to an extent, some of the humor that came out of it, like
Yes.
people walking around, like Drama Llama the next day carrying a sign going, I swear I didn't do it. I lost myself with that. I was going to do a question for a few. And I ended up not doing it because I'm like, okay, that might be over the top. But every time I walked around that Sunday morning, and everyone was like, oh, how are you doing? Well, obviously I'm tired, but I'm also kind of hungry. Oh, well, obviously I'm tired, but I'm also kind of, excited for today. Well, obviously I'm tired. And as soon as I heard the third person go that, I go, this needs to be a Family Feud question. Top 9 answers on the board, 100 Midwest Furry attendees answered the question. Other than tired, how are you feeling Sunday morning after the gas? And I'm like, yeah, no, that was too soon.
Yeah.
But all the memes and like Midwest Freon Fest and all that wonderful stuff.
Harrow's pool party is my favorite. Yes, gotta love that one.
We don't talk about the pool at Midwest Fair Fest.
I have photos of the pool at the High Regency O'Hare from like the 70s, and there's like, fringe kind of canopy things, like where our meeting space is, where the dome is. It used to be the pool, so there's like, seeing it decorated as a pool back in the 70s, it's terrifying how antiquated it looks now. But yeah, no, it's funny.
All right. Well, it is 5 minutes to the hour, so unless anyone has a final story they want to share, I think we're going to wrap up.
I have a really short one.
Okay.
This is kind of a follow-up to the accidental convention thing. I'm not going to say what website it is, but it was a wiki. And we went up there to start putting information about our convention and how it happened, our attendance and all that stuff. And they didn't believe us. They didn't believe we had actually happened. They were like, we've looked this up and there's no mention of you guys like 2 months ago. Yeah, we got started like a month and a half ago. That doesn't happen. Like, well, we can prove it. I mean, there's 175 people who showed up. And they didn't want to believe us. They kept editing it out and saying you guys weren't a convention, you didn't actually happen. So someone, I believe it was Toa, actually put together a really nice music video. And it was footage of the convention and people in fursuits and all this stuff going on, big signs for reality all over the place. And Alkali was like at the end of the video. And Alkali, is doing Who's Line, he's out there and doing the stuff. And we showed them the video and they're like, I still don't think it did. That's Alkali. I'm sure people know him. Are you sure? You can ask him. I mean, go ahead and ask him. He'll tell you he was there.
So I can't help but wonder if we did make up a convention and pretend that it happened. We could come up with that same proof, I think.
That's the plan for next year.
Oh my god, okay, so we just pick a random date.
Right.
And we just, okay, everyone in this room, we all were at that
It was
convention.
a Wednesday convention.
It was, we'll have to come up with a good name for it. Because we love our puns, so it'll have to be a punny name. I don't know. We'll put that in the, we'll discuss it at the next FCLR.
Something with stealth or invisibility.
Yes.
Ooh, RoadCon.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Or EnigmaCon or something. Just
Yes.
Also good.
Schrodinger's Con.
Fernigma. Fernigma.
Enigma.
For Enigma. Okay, guys.
Fernigma. It was in Springfield. We don't know which state.
You all attended for Enigma. Most of you were super sponsors.
Alkali was the guest of honor.
Apparently, I think I got banned.
I know you got banned.
You got banned for
Gross
The
misconduct.
turkey incident.
groping
Let's
the
talk no more.
hotel liaison. I don't know.
Was there a kiddie pool?
No, there was a hot tub.
We
Oh,
can't go back to that hotel because someone filled the pool with balls from a ball pit.
They turned the pool into the DashCon ball pit.
It was epoch.
Bet it was more
No,
impressive.
no, Bangkon had a ball pit.
All right, we're finishing up real quick. Dorsai asked me to make an announcement for anyone. The Fursuit Parade is going to start in the Headless Lounge, not in here. There seems to be some kind of confusion about that. Just to let everyone know, if you see anyone
Which
milling about,
headless lounge? There's two.
I believe it's going to be
The one over in the hallway, over
Yeah.
towards Steelers End.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be coming down the hall, and I believe ending in here.
Fur Reality is the only convention that tried to have a parade go downstairs. Real quick, last story. We had a parade, and one of the people in the middle of the parade stopped for a photo for like 2 minutes and broke the line really far. And then when they started again, they had no idea where to go, so they arbitrarily decided, oh, well, it must be down these stairs. And like 9 or 10 fursuiters got down the stairs before we realized what was happening and ran someone down to go stop them and bring them back up.
Wow.
And I'm not going to say who, but the person who did that, there's a rule now that they always have to be at the end of the line.
Isn't there a paper mache maze at the bottom of the stairs?
There was also a maze downstairs, so if they had gotten in there, we wouldn't have gotten them back out.
The Minotaur would have found them. Minotaur.
Minotaur!
Minotaur.
Well, thank you guys. I hope you guys had fun. And this.
Yes, thank you. Tax, Woody, Hernandez, Alkali is off doing fun things. Visitors, if you're in the parade, head on over to the Headless Lounge and yay, let's take some pictures.
Cool.
And there wasn't even the ramen hot tub story didn't come up. And the old Sheridan.